Hello, welcome to our assembly for today. It's Monday, and today our theme, you might have been doing a little bit about this in class already, is all to do with our environment, because our school rules, as you've been talking about in class, are showing respect to ourselves, respect for others, and respect for property or the environment. And we're going to look at the environment in two different ways. We're going to think about the natural environment, that's the things that grow, and we're going to think about the kind of environment around us. So if I have a think about the environment around me, I'm going to tilt my computer on my desk so you can see. Can you see? I've put my umbrella over on the chair, and on my desk, I need to put my phone away. I've got a face mask over here I need to put away. I need to have a tidy up. So I'm going to take these things and I'm going to put them away where they belong, in that drawer where they need to live. And I'm going to have a bit of a tidy round. So I'll leave everywhere neat and tidy. Put away the seeds that were left over from yesterday, from this planting project. Could actually put my lanyard on, that would be a good thing. And then my desk is tidier. It's a better place for me to work, and I feel happier because I'm in a tidier place. And sometimes when we have a tidier place, tidier classroom, it feels better. But sometimes we don't like actually tidying up, but it's good to be somewhere where you know everything's nice and organised and neat. Now I've got my sheet of stickers to hand. I can actually find them because I've been seeing loads and loads of people for really amazing work. It's been really, really cool. So that's kind of the environment around me, where I am at the moment. But we can talk about the environment, the kind of natural environments as well, where we live. So I'm going to read you a book today, not a story as such. It's a non-fiction book. And make sure I've got the right one. It's called A Planet Full of Plastic by Neil Layton, and how you can help. So we're going to have a think about plastics in the environment, because we know that plastics aren't great, single-use plastics aren't good, and we know we should recycle. But let's have a look at some of the reasons why. Hello, you! Who, me? That's right. Quick question. Do you ever think about what things are made of? Because some things are made of paper, like this book. Well, we're watching on the screen and I'm reading it on a Kindle, so that's not made of paper. Some things are made of metal. Some things are made of glass. In fact, I'm actually saving a little bit of the environment by reading this on a Kindle so that I can show it to you on the computer rather than by using the paper. So that's saving a bit of energy as well. And if you look in the picture here, some things, in fact, lots of things are made of something called plastic. We've got a plastic lampshade, plastic plant pot, plastic wheels, plastic bag, pen, plastic salt and pepper shakers, milk carton, a packet for the strawberries, a ketchup bottle, the lid, the basket, the cloth even, the plastic tub, the bottle, a lid, the clock, the handles, the bags, the food wrapped in plastic, a toy for the dog, a nylon lead. There's so many plastic things all in just one room. I wonder how many plastic things you can see as you look around you. There's loads. Isn't plastic fantastic? It comes in lots of different shapes and sizes and colours. Sometimes it's bendy, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's big, and sometimes it's really, really, really tiny. And if you look around you, plastic is everywhere. But where does all the plastic come from? It does not grow on trees. So let's have a look at this. We've got all of this oil refinery. So we've got the plastic being made in the factory and poured out into a lorry, taken overseas, taken to a straw factory where they make straws, or a plastic bucket factory, or a bottle factory. So it's made in factories. So it's turned into random shapes and then taken to the factory, and it's shaped into what people want it to be. Now, you see, 150 years ago, there wasn't any plastic at all, only materials like wood, metal, paper, and stone. And then one day, a super chemist called Mr. Bakeland made an incredible discovery. Wow! So he'd made a Bakelite vase, a Bakelite necklace, a Bakelite phone, Bakelite switch, another Bakelite phone, and some of us are old enough to remember these things. Not quite 150 years ago, but certainly these sorts of phones were being used for quite a long time after that. It's crazy groovy. Plastic is fantastic, they all said. And suddenly all sorts of things were being made out of plastic. A plastic spacesuit, a plastic plate, a plastic drink bottle. They started making lots of it and using it for just about everything they could. Even that plane is mostly plastic. Computers are mostly plastic. My keyboard is plastic. My coffee cafetiere is plastic. The lid of my spray is plastic. There's so many plastic things around and about. And it's really useful. But there was a problem. And if you look around, you won't just see plastic where it's meant to be. You'll see it where it's not meant to be. Because one of the most amazing things about plastic is that it doesn't biodegrade like natural things. Oof, big word. What does biodegrade mean? I wonder if some of the older children are going to know. Put your hand up if you can tell your teacher, what does biodegrade mean? So let me explain. If a leaf drops to the ground, it will turn yellow, then brown, and then all skinny and thin until it's just mud and dust. So then it drops to the ground. After 1 week, there's a close-up of what's happening. After a month, after about 6 months, and it takes a few months, and you can't see them, but bugs are eating the leaf, breaking it down. And it's the same with an apple core or any natural thing. This is called biodegrading. So how long things take to biodegrade? So a twig will take over a year. Piece of paper will take about 4 weeks. Banana peel, 6 weeks. And a leaf, 6 months. Wow. So an apple core will take about 8 weeks to biodegrade, to break down, so it eventually turn into tiny, tiny amounts of soil. And that's why we put things into a compost bin. Plastic is different. If it drops to the ground, it just stays there for years and years and years and years. It doesn't biodegrade. Really? Yes, really. This makes plastic super useful because it lasts a long time. But it also creates a problem because that plastic never goes away. If plastic ends up where it's not meant to be, it will stay there for years and years until eventually the weather breaks it down into smaller and smaller pieces of plastic. And a huge amount of the plastic eventually ends up in the ocean. Now, there's been a lot of things in the news about this sort of problem recently over the last couple of years. And certainly David Attenborough's programs have really highlighted the problems with this. Some of it floats to the top of the ocean and stays there. Some of it sinks to the bottom of the ocean and stays there. And all of this is a really big problem for animals. Some of them get tied up in it. Some of them try to eat the plastic. Really not good for them. And because of circular currents in the oceans, where the water goes round and round and round, the bits of plastic have collected together, creating 5 enormous garbage patches full of plastic. And the most famous is called the North Pacific Garbage Patch, and it's 3 times as big as France. So we're here-ish. We're here. The map's not quite what I was expecting. We're here. You've got America here, North America, South America, and the Pacific Garbage Patch in between America and Asia. That's 3 times the size of France, which is over here. Now, most of the plastic in these patches is broken up into small pieces that are so small you can hardly see them. A microplastic is a piece smaller than that, and the version that you're seeing is bigger because it's expanded as it's been projected onto the whiteboard. And these are even more of a problem than big bits. Animals think they're food, so they eat them. The microplastics fill up their tummies, leaving no room for proper food. And the plastics often carry and contain nasty toxins, poisons. So if a small fish eats them, it can be poisoned. And so might a bigger fish that eats the small fish for dinner. And all the way up the food chain. Some scientists think there will soon be more plastic than fish in the sea. But I don't want animals to get hurt, and I don't want to fill our planet up with plastic. So what can we do? Well, we all need to try and reduce how much plastic we use every day. The less we use, the less we have to clean up. And people who make stuff for us need to think carefully about what they do with plastic. Creating things that will be thrown away in minutes but stay in the environment forever isn't right. So we can reduce. That's a really important one. We can reduce the amount of plastic. Do we go and get a throwaway coffee cup if we go out for coffee, or do we take a cup with us? So it's things like that. Do we use the plastic bag at the supermarket when we buy some onions or potatoes, or do we take a fabric bag with us to put things in? Again, these are the things that we can think about. Do we buy a new bottle of shower gel or shampoo? Shampoo is something that I'm really interested in, you can tell. Do we buy a new bottle of shampoo, or do we go to somewhere to get the old one filled up? Lots of different thoughts. Lots of plastic things are made to be reused over and over again. Let's make sure we do. So I've got a plastic lunchbox, like I'm sure a lot of you have. I know that lots of you have got plastic water bottles, and even I've got a plastic bag that's reused again and again. And it's important that we do those sorts of things. If we finished using a plastic thing, we can pass it on to someone else. So it might be that some of your mums and dads have had a bit of a sort out, and for example, baby toys might have been passed on because you've outgrown them. We reuse things. Okay, now we reuse things. Last week I saw lots and lots of people doing their planting projects, and there were lots of people who'd cut up milk bottle tops. They brought in plastic containers and all sorts of different things. We're reusing. So we actually help the environment, because instead of giving you plastic plant pots that couldn't be used again and again, we asked you for something that you could reuse. So when the plastic stuff has been reused, lots of times it should be recycled so it can be turned into new plastic bags and not just thrown away. That's the thing. So we can also make sure that our recycling gets put out and we don't throw it in the bin because we're being a little bit lazy. My recycling was out this morning for it to be collected and taken away to be recycled. But plastic can only be recycled a few times before it stops being useful. And not all plastic can be recycled. So environmentalists are teaching people about the problem, because everyone needs to help fix it. And scientists are coming up with clever ideas too, experimenting with special bugs which might help plastics biodegrade and finding new materials for us to use. And engineers are looking at ways we can clear up the mess. So these are ideas that engineers are trying to use to work out how to solve the problem of these massive bits of plastic in the sea. You could get a giant floating net and all the plastic collects in there as the net moves that way. Or a sea bin, a solar-powered wheel to collect the plastic as it turns round, or a boat that eats the plastic up and the boat sails through all the plastic. What good ideas. It'll take each and every person working together to stop the planet filling up with plastic. It's a big job, but I reckon we can do it. Thanks for listening, said the world. So, loads of ways that could help solve the plastic problem. You could get creative and reuse the plastic you already own. That's a good idea. Now, we've done some of these things. Like I said, we did our planting. That was really important. And this is a really good one. I'd actually not thought about this. I kept thinking the other day that I needed to buy a watering can, but that would be plastic. Why don't I just make my own with a bottle to water the plants? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that. This one's clever. A plastic bottle to act as a greenhouse, a mini greenhouse. So you put the bottle on top, it's warmer inside so the plant grows better. Make a pen pot from a tub. Use a plastic tray for your paint palettes, or a shaker for your music. You could ask your family to replace anything made from or packaged in plastic with eco-friendly options. So instead of using tin foil or cling film, you could have a beeswax wrap, for example, and it means that you don't have to buy any cling film at all. Or you could do a litter pick near you. So go out with a grown-up, make sure you're wearing gloves, and see if you can pick up some litter from the place where you are. So it sounds like these are things that we can do, but there's also some quite big ideas that have come from quite small people. It doesn't just need to be grown-ups. So Hannah Tester knew that more people needed to learn about the plastics problem. So by the time she was 14, she created Plastic Pollution Awareness Day. Boyan Slats was just 16 when he realized how much plastic filled our oceans. And since then, he's invented a system called Ocean Cleanup, which gathers up plastic to be recycled. Malati and Isabel Vision, I'm going to say, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, started campaigning against plastic bags in their home country of Indonesia when they were aged 10 and 12, and their campaign, Bye Bye Plastic Bags, has gone global. So, what's your big idea going to be? What are you going to do to help? Have some time now for an idea about how you're going to help the environment. We've already started because we've already done our planting project last week. I wonder what else you can come up with yourselves. Okay, so next time I'm out on the playground, I won't have to ask anybody to pick up that little bit of litter because it will already be done. It'll be in the bin or it'll be recycled. Okay, well done, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.